he asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay, you can just say yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay, it's easier. It's easier than explaining it, I don't mind.
That's weird. That, of course, is Zohran Mamdani, the incoming mayor of New York, with Donald Trump. They're meeting up, and I think most people expected it would be like really contentious, and certainly the questions were. I mean, a tough question to Zohran Mamdani: do you stand by your labeling Donald Trump as a fascist? And he jumps in to help out Zohran Mamdani. That's strange.
Yeah, no. This was actually one of the finer hours for Donald Trump. So press tried to get them to fight a couple of times. Mamdani did a great job of deflection. You'll see it in a second. But Trump did an even better job of going, no, we're not going to fight. It was kind of amazing. And after you see all the videos of it, and you'll see what I'm talking about, it was one tough question that Mamdani had. Then I want you to vote on the poll on TYT.com. If Trump and Zohran were to be in a movie or a show together, which one would it be?
Oh my God.
A, odd couple, makes sense. B, bosom buddies. C, do people remember Bosom Buddies? Okay.
Before my time.
It's got Tom Hanks in it.
Perfect Strangers is what I would go for.
And cross-dressing, but anyway. C, Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, or maybe the White House. And D, trading places. So have fun with that poll on TYT.com. All right, now let's give you all the videos and facts.
God, yeah. And I don't believe, by the way, just to Mamdani's credit, I don't think he backed off in that question, and he shouldn't. He's 100% right. Trump is a fascist. Whether he's like chuckling and like patting you or whatever, still a fascist. But either way, they had previously been very harsh in their criticism of each other. Mamdani called Trump a despot and a walking avatar of New York City's corrupt landlords and culture of corruption. He is dead on in that. I think that's a great label. He also stated, I am Donald Trump's worst nightmare as a progressive Muslim immigrant who actually fights for the things that I believe in. And so that's Mamdani. Trump had said, he looks terrible, his voice is grating, he's not very smart. And I think, wait, is he talking about himself? No, I guess he was technically talking about Zohran there. It doesn't make as much sense that way, but I guess that's what it was. And he had also said, it is my strong conviction that New York City will be a complete and total economic and social disaster should Mamdani win. And so that's the sort of thing that a lot of right-wingers were saying over and over and over and over again. And Trump certainly got in on that up until today. Today, he had kind of a different way of talking about the future of New York.
I mean, he's got views that are a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I change a lot. I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would, especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zohran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't, but she's out there campaigning, and you know, you say things sometimes in a campaign. I met with a man who's a very rational person.
I love that. And look, by the way, he's honest about Elise Stefanik. He's like, yeah, you just, you're campaigning. Say whatever the hell you want. Who cares? I declare that someone's a terrorist. It's just politics or whatever. And so yeah, she was mad. By the way, Laura Loomer was very mad about that meeting, saying that he's in there with a jihadist. And it's like, he's been with lots of jihadists recently. Mamdani's by far the least jihadist of the people he's been meeting with recently. What is your problem? But anyway, look. That was a pretty fascinating meeting. Ken Klippenstein summed it up saying Trump is being nicer to Mamdani than Democratic leadership was, LOL, which is definitely true. My theory, Cenk, I'm curious if you agree, is I think he has now absorbed that Mamdani is genuinely very popular. I think he has seen the affordability thing break through. He tried to like dust it off, laugh it off, and now he's trying to claim that he's the one that's for affordability. I think he's actually charmed by Mamdani, who is a charming guy, and partially I think it's he wants to get some of the shine. I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it was one of Trump's finer hours because, and I get the way that Trump acts. So he fights, and to your point about, it's just a campaign. You tell people that Haitians eat cats and dogs. It's a lie, but it's a way to get people to hate Haitian immigrants. It's just a campaign. Nah, you're not supposed to do that, right? But does Trump do that all the time? Yes, but the good news out of that's the bad news. The good news out of that is that once the fight is over, Trump is pretty good at reconciliation. So if you were skeptical about that, you certainly saw it today. There's still another tough question coming up for Mamdani, but I thought it was a fair question. And Trump from time to time stepped in, defended Mamdani. Not time to time for actually most of it. I mean, you've already seen a couple of pretty spectacular examples of it. And so, look, there's so much I want to talk about. So number one, on the stuff that they kept going back to, is he a fascist, right? So, look, I think that there's a spectrum of words: authoritarian, then fascist, then Nazi. Right? So I've never gone to Nazi. Nazi is very particular. It involves killing about 13 million people, etc., or some sort of genocide, Holocaust, etc. I've never gone there with Trump because I don't think that's fair. I think that's the end of the road, right? So I have said fascist before, and then it becomes a question of what is a fascist versus an authoritarian? Does Donald Trump have authoritarian tendencies? Look, I think in the rational world that is inarguable, right? So, and we just saw it yesterday. These Democratic senators and congressmen made a video about me saying don't follow an illegal order. That's it, call for death. What is that? Okay, I'm gonna roll out the military into the streets. I'm gonna make sure that they're not wearing badges and masks when it's ICE. Just every instinct he has, including literally saying after he lost the 2020 election, we should terminate the Constitution, is these huge, obvious, unmistakable authoritarian tendencies, right? Now, if you want to get, your feelings hurt by the word fascist and you don't like it, okay, fine. I don't really care. I don't care what it's called. I care that he not go in an authoritarian direction, right? Or you're in the camp of, no, you have to call him fascist, otherwise my feelings are gonna get hurt. Fine, either way, I don't really care. I care about the results. And the things that he does in office that deeply concern me is when he ignores the Constitution, he ignores the laws, he kills people in boats without even knowing their names, without any due process. That is a massive violation of our Constitution and of international law. You know what TYT's always been about? Taking on the corrupt, greedy establishment. For us, it's the corporate media. We've been fighting that fight for over 20 years. For the cell phone industry, it's the same story. A handful of massive corporations ripping you off. That's why we're partnering with Noble Mobile. They're the only wireless company with the same mission as ours, to fight back. Their No Bull plan offers unlimited data for just $50 a month. But here's the best part. For any data you don't use, you get cash back. Real money you can spend however you want. Stop letting your unused data pad the pockets of billionaires. With Noble, you take control over your data. And by switching to Noble, you're directly supporting TYT in our mission of bringing you honest, independent news. So give Noble a try and make the switch today. Scan the QR code on the screen now or visit go.tyt.com/plan. That's go.tyt.com/plan. So you could call it whatever name you want, but that is a deeply problematic issue for Trump. The number one problematic issue. Okay, now, but he does have moments where he goes, bygones be bygones, right? Here's the most spectacular case of it. It's not Mamdani, it's his own vice president, JD Vance. Because Mamdani never called him Nazi. I don't even know if he's called him fascist, but and he certainly never called him Hitler, but Trump's vice president did. He called Trump America's Hitler. And Trump's like, whatever, who cares? You want to be vice president? So he's good at that. He is. So that doesn't mean you like the other things about Trump. You could be honest about different parts, right? And you don't have to love Zohran's economic policies to say, hey, you know what? He's got a good point about F the status quo, F the establishment. Let's go for change. Maybe I don't like the kind of change Zohran's giving, right? And I don't like the things he said about Trump. I don't like the things he said about X, Y, or Z. But the prices are out of control in New York, and he wants to have a run at affordability, and I care about affordability. So that is how you begin to bring people together, no matter what terrible things they've said about each other in the past. And this was just really, I'm not trying to oversell it. My sense of it was this was a pretty spectacular example of it from both sides, from Trump and Mamdani. But since Trump is the president and known for ripping people's faces off, him coming in to rescue Mamdani a couple times, going, who cares if he calls me a fascist? And John, the other thing is, he's legendary for being thin-skinned, right?
Yeah.
And here he wasn't. So it was like, part of the reason I'm giving him so much credit is, one, I think he really did earn it. Two, I'm kind of stunned by it.
Yeah, he is very thin-skinned. Yeah, he can reconcile, especially with like some Republicans, like you pointed out what Vance said about him. He had briefly, I don't know if he's still reconciled with DeSantis, but he had reconciled. DeSantis had said some things about him, had challenged him and all that. And that's definitely true. There are definitely cases in which he's not very good at, once the fight is over, just ending it, like 2020. He couldn't just move on from that exactly. I wish he could have reconciled that a little bit easier, but yeah, it was interesting. They're now saying that they're going to work together, which is definitely, I guess, better for New York than Trump rejecting all federal funding to the city because he doesn't like the guy that got elected mayor. That would have been the authoritarian direction that you're talking about. I think it would be way too early to think that Mamdani had given him some indication that he's not going to go as far as he indicated that he would or something. We have to see. I want Mamdani to continue to do what he said he was going to do, and I hope that he will. It's still very early days. So early that like even as we were playing our B-roll and they're showing like shots of his like campaign literature, it's still a shock that he won. It's wild that he is going to be the mayor. But anyway,
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt one more time because I forgot to mention the jihadist line, right? So look, there's Laura Loomer, unsurprisingly, he's Muslim, so he's a jihadist. Not remotely true, not within a million miles of true. Deeply anti-Muslim thing to say. I don't love the word Islamophobe. I don't think people are like that scared. They're just more hate Muslims than are afraid of them, but like Laura Loomer despises Muslims, and then she'll always cry about anti-Semitism. Like you said something that it could be a dog whistle, could be a cat whistle, a parakeet whistle, I don't know, but that your life should be ruined over it. I despise all Muslims; they're all jihadists, and I'm going to smear all of them.
It's wild.
Do you not see it? And what's amazing is for her and Israel First, they're like, yeah, we see it, who cares? In fact, we're trying to smear Muslims so you don't hate us, you hate them instead. And when our beloved Israel kills them, you don't mind, right? So I want you to understand what a deep racist pile of dung Laura Loomer is, and all the people going in that direction. And once again, Donald Trump did not go in that direction.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
You're right. It's a little bit harder for him to do it after he had an actual jihadist play basketball in the White House a couple of days ago and sprayed him with cologne and stuff. So, but that guy, former Al Qaeda, now supported by Turkey and Israel, so we're good with it.
Exactly, yeah. And Donald Trump doesn't. Donald Trump, I don't think really cares about ideology really at all, ever. He doesn't care about any of this stuff. So much of the stuff that the right or MAGA gets so worked up over, I don't genuinely think Donald Trump cares at all. I don't think he's sitting at home stewing about DEI. I gotta do something about DEI. He doesn't care about that. He wants to make money. It's about corruption and power in the abstract. He doesn't care about that stuff. If he thinks that he can work with a guy who used to be an Al Qaeda, or if he thinks that MBS, yeah, sure, MBS chops people up or whatever, but he's gonna let me make a golf course in Saudi Arabia. He doesn't care. The ideology is irrelevant. It's all business opportunities.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.